going on, everyone? I am Gilflo.
I'm Lord Spleech.
And we are the Video Game Archivist, and we are bringing you game number 27 of 296 Nintendo 64 games, Fighter's Destiny. Alright, so let's get into this, Mr. Spleech. You go ahead and take it on.
I would say this is an interesting fighter or whatnot. And first things first, like when you get into the match, it's not the usual stamina bar. It's literally a point system. You know, it's basically your markers is how many points you get. Like almost like a less, I forget the exact term, like near no contact. I forget the exact term for actual like martial arts, but kind of like the Karate Kid, where it's like you do a certain move and land a hit and then you get a point. Though in this game, it's whereas if you kick them down, you get some points. You throw them down, you get some points. Knock them out of the arena, you get some points. That's everything.
Well, the other thing is it's different per fight. Like some fights, it's only worth 1 point to grab someone and throw them down, where other matches it might be 3 points.
Yeah, well, it does depend on the mood you're playing it in.
Yep. All depends who you're fighting, the arena, all sorts of things. So one of the interesting concepts is in order to unlock or to get special moves for each character, you have to do Master Mode, which is you fight the Master, and if you get the Joker, you have to beat him, or you lose him.
Everything. So you could have up to, like, I think 7 special,
8.
like, well, 8, yeah. But it's like, okay, you could have 7 at the moment,
yeah.
Then you lose 2 against the Joker. Well, I'm assuming it's going to get harder and harder, because we discovered with the Master fight, first fight's always easy, second fight is when it gets tougher. But at least if you lose to the Master, it's not so bad. But it's like, it's an interesting concept, but for me, it's like if I was gonna do where it's like hide special combos, because so far the movie unlocked a little more special combos than anything, or special, like true special moves. It's like, I don't know. I think it need a better robust adventure mode, so to speak, instead of the little roulette wheel to say, oh, you could just risk it all, which is like, yeah, that's kind of annoying. To try to put dedication to the game for that.
And that's what this game requires. Otherwise, I would almost call this a rental game back in the day. It's either you love the game so much you're going to put a ton of hours into it, or you rent it for a weekend, you play with a friend, you have fun.
Yeah.
So, we already talked about the Joker. So the first fight against the Master in that mode was really easy. And then the fight against the Joker is really, really hard.
Yeah, and that's even the first fight when you don't even have a skill at all.
Yep. I will say though that it has super responsive controls and point system you talked about either. So there's ring outs, slams, takedowns, specials, and counters. We never saw a counter.
Yeah, like I'm trying to remember. I think I might have seen the counter during one of my fights. But I forget.
Yeah.
And the counter, it's just kind of weird because it's like, I think when we're looking through the move list, it's just certain moves are labeled counters. So it's not like easy to do. It's not like, oh, if you reverse the opponent's grapple, you don't instantly get that as a counter. It's just, no, you just reverse the grapple. And that gives you the throwdown category.
So I have 3 complaints that I'm going to put up about this game. The first one is, so if you buy a cartridge used, you have to take the battery out and leave it out for however long it takes to erase the memory before it will factory reset. There is no easily delete all data. So if you have someone that mastered the entire game, guess what? You have a finished, completed game.
Yeah.
Not that most people, I think, would enjoy unlocking everything. So that might be a good thing too. Second thing is there's no arcade ending, so there's no buy-in to the game, right? There's no real story to it.
Yeah, there might be a story in the manual itself, but we obviously didn't have it.
We just have the cartridge. So,
but yeah, it's like, I mean, you could kind of give it an early thing because I forget exactly when this particular game came out, but it was still like mid-90s. Yeah. So you could say, it's still in like the early heyday of the golden era of fighting games, and this is obviously early 3D fighting.
Yeah.
But it's just, to me, it is a sin. It's always a sin. So, granted, the sin gets greater and greater as you get into more modern day, into now, where it's like, oh, when we played Soul Calibur 5, it's like, no fucking arcade endings. Like, what the fuck?
But, so, I mean, there's no real buy-in to this game. You do have a diverse cast, but there's no reason for them. There's no reason you're fighting. It's just, hey, here's a fighting game with different mechanics. Check it out. I will say it's only $12 right now, as the time of this recording. So if you're looking for a fighter that you can play with your friends, I can recommend it for that. Yeah. So let's get into how we rate games. Unless you have anything else.
Actually, before we do that, I forgot about the ledge mechanics. That's the interesting thing.
Okay.
Because, I mean, granted, it's the simple 3D arena where it's like, okay, it's just a square. You can throw your opponents out and everything. And that's been done before in 3D games. The only thing that's interesting is, like, that game actually expanded on the ledge mechanics, unlike every other fighting game that has arena out, where it's like, hey, if you hold your guard and then hit down, you can actually hand off the ledge. You can even move along the ledge, even if you manage to grab on when your opponent knocks you off.
Yeah.
And it's like you can actually play with that to mess with your opponent, which is like...
You can even grab them and pull them off.
Yeah, and pull them off, which I know the first time we saw that, I got fucking like, I'm going to kick you down. No, I'm not. But
Alright.
That's something I wish someone actually do again, because that's actually a fucking interesting mechanic that
cool
I would deserve, like in Soul Calibur or Tekken, if Tekken were to put in some ring out.
We'll have to see why this series didn't continue after segment. So let's get to the ratings. So we have an interesting way of rating games here. 50 is right at your par line. There's nothing good or bad about it. It's just a meh game.
Yeah, it's just there.
Anything below 50 is not recommended by us, all the way down to that abomination at number 1, Superman 64.
Foreshadowing.
Anything above a 50, so even a 51, it's just better than meh, but it's not quite okay.
Yeah.
It does have something in there that allows you to play it.
And obviously, I would say around our 60-50 range.
Yeah,
is
that's
that rental test that we wish Blockbuster was still around for.
Yep. And then 70 and above is 100% recommended. Even 60s we recommend. Anyway, so let's get into how we rated this game. So for nostalgia, back in the day, if we had rented this game or played this game, I would have given it a 70. I would have said it was a good game. But it's a rental. You gave it a 69, so probably the same.
But no, obviously I kind of put it exactly that's where for the joke, obviously. But I put it at that okay game where, I definitely put it in my rental range. And like I said, it has some interesting mechanics, though. I will say, and this is my general feelings when it comes to 3D fighters, if it only has 2 buttons, aka the punch and kick button, and maybe a third button for just grab, which to me that semi doesn't count, I kind of knock it, because at that point, more or less your variation comes in through your stick control, and after that, it's just gets limited for my taste.
Alright, so how does it hold up now? We both agreed on this one, gave it a 65. I think the game is not... It doesn't have anything to stand up against the great fighting games.
Oh, yeah. And obviously it goes to the lack of story. It's like, no... And one thing that fighting games thrive on is interesting characters and the story.
Yeah.
And even if, it's like Street Fighter, it doesn't really have too much of a story, but it's like, if your characters have personality, that's that hook to get you in.
There's nothing to invest in the game. So that brings us to an overall rating of 67, a.k.a... I'm going to change it on the thing. We're going to make that new 60 area rental.
Yeah.
At $12, I think that's fair to be called a rental.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, that's all I have about it. I think it's a decent game. It has some cool ideas. I'm excited to try the second one, hopefully seeing them.
Hopefully it is, and improve on it.
So, we will see. You got anything else, Paul?
No, I think it would cover the point. That ledge mechanic was the one that I really wanted to get to.
Yeah, definitely. Alright, well, we'll catch you next time, and if you like the video and want to catch more reviews of any of the N64 games, we will get to them. Hit that subscribe button.
Like the video.
And if you want, leave us a comment. We'll probably reply. Might take us a while.
Yeah.
Point 1. Ready. Fight.